Do not attempt to adjust your podcast player. We are controlling the transmission. We are here to be your guide, helping you to explore local events, the art scene, music, theater, sports, and possibly a conspiracy or two. All here on the GCRX Radio and Podcast Network.
Howdy, and welcome to the show. We're coming to you live tonight from Studio B, right behind where? Garden Gate Tea Room, right in front of where? If you watch the show, you can answer this one just automatically anytime. Studio C, right to my left. Garden Gate is right to my right. And yeah, we're back here in the B's Novel Idea Complex, right?
Right.
That's what the whole place is called. Awesome. Yeah, we got Board Gamery. Love Board Gamery.
I love Board Gamery.
Yeah, it's an awesome place. So yeah, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about our weekend, like we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to talk about why the hell do we live where we live. You know, a lot of times that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a okay thing. But you know, tonight I think we're just going to talk a little bit about what keeps us where we're at. You know, what keeps us rooted here where we're at and everything. And this isn't just for Granite City people, because I know, or at least hope, that there are some out of town people that watch the show. You know, just let us know if you guys would like to, you know, tell us why you live where you live and just kind of what keeps you there. So, but before we get the show started, Kim, how was your weekend?
It was eventful. Sunday afternoon, we'll start backwards. Sunday afternoon. Well, we are in the metro, so we can talk more about just Granite City. So we'll start all the way from the last. We went to the Foundry, me and some friends.
Nice.
And had the food court and checked out the putt-putt golf. Very cool over there. I've also heard about the Speakeasy. And we've been there, I don't know, maybe like this is like the third time, and we have not found it.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't really searched for it.
Isn't that the point?
Yeah, exactly. Right. But this time we were like, okay, we're going to look for it type thing. And we did. And the person I was with, well, Brenda and some other people were like, I don't know, where do you think this is at? And we see a red light. So there you go. Look for the red light. So we went in, and it was a lot of fun.
You know, sometimes you get more than you bargain for
with the red light, right?
Areas.
So the name of the speakeasy is called None of the Above, meaning any password you come up with, no, it's none of the above, because there's not really a password.
No.
How they do it is they try to get one person in the party in there. And for us, it was me. I went to see if this is where we're supposed to be. And we set up a password for the rest of the group.
So you were the scout.
Yeah, right. And of course, what do you think my password was?
Board Gamery.
No, Granite City.
Granite City.
Right?
Well, how did I not know that?
Yeah, exactly. How do you not know that? So when my party gets inside and they start asking us the password stuff, they just couldn't think of anything. And of course, it was none of the above. I'm like, you just finally, because I want to get in there and see what their drinks are. I'm finally like, well, you just have to forgive us. We're from Granite City. Open the door. It was kind of cool.
Nice.
But earlier on Sunday at the Alfresco, I went to the Kai Hales.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh my gosh, it blew. Just, I would say there was probably a couple dozen people. It wasn't packed. I think the people that saw the clips wish they had been there after they saw those.
Yeah.
She's going to do it again. It was just very well done. She did a lot of outfit changes in between the women that she was singing.
So is this similar to the Bobby Darin thing that Eric did?
Not well, maybe, but no. It had its own thing. She did sets of songs by different women in jazz. And while she would go off stage to change into something that you would see them in on stage, the audio was about the next person that she was and their life and how they became famous. And then she would just walk out immediately. You may not know who one of the women were, but the second you heard that song, you're like, oh,
Who did
That's
the
who
audio?
sang that.
Who did the audio? Who was that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it was all pre-recorded, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. It's kind of an interesting concept. I mean, it sounds similar to what Erica
Yeah,
Dottie
it was
know.
so much fun.
So, very cool.
And I really appreciated this about her, whether she appreciates, I'm going to say this. It's a lot when you're the only one on the stage and there's no one else,
Oh, yeah.
you know, all eyes are on you, no matter what. There's no one to blend into.
Don't screw it up.
No,
Yeah.
right?
No one,
And-
like, you know, if you screw it up, you're
It's
getting
just
yourself out of it. Yeah.
Yep.
So she was really nervous in this one particular moment when it was evident, not that it messed with her voice, because it did not. She was still belting it out.
Yeah.
But she said in between lyrics that, okay, I'm a little nervous. And she came off the stage. And if you know how the alfresco is set up, there's a U shape that you can go down one
Yeah.
aisle and come down the other. And she kind of mingled with people as she went, still singing the
Sure.
whole time. But when she was coming down the second part of it, going back on stage, she said, I'm not going to lie, this was just to get the jitters out. And I think everybody in there totally felt for her right that minute. We're like, girl, get back up there. You are knocking this out. Stop the
Yeah.
nerves.
She has an amazing voice. Like,
Yeah.
she really does have
Yeah.
an amazing voice.
So that was my Sunday. And then Saturday was tacos at Nick's Bar for the fundraiser,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Christmas
right,
committee.
right.
And from what I understand, I did go get some tacos, but I wasn't really feeling that great on Saturday. I had taken a fall earlier in the week at work and like Thursday. And, you know, I guess the older you get when you fall, it takes a little bit longer to
Just a
feel
bit.
it. You know, like Friday night, I was like, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Saturday morning, you wake up. That is definitely
yeah,
not
I'm
the case.
like, oh my God.
Why can't I move?
Yes.
Right.
You know, my neck wouldn't go any
Yeah.
further than this. And my toenails have gone. Yeah, it was bad.
Once I
Ugh.
hit 40, I was hurting in places I didn't even know existed on my body. Like, where did that little muscle come from? You know?
And then there's also the 8th grade. Well, we don't call it prom in 8th grade, do we? We call it a formal dance.
Formal. Okay.
And-
Semi-formal is. I saw some pictures.
It was, I guess, formal. They left up all of the decorations at the mill that they had put out for pre-prom.
Okay.
So the 8th graders got a chance to,
Cool.
you know, kind of take some neat photo ops and do the same thing.
Nice.
And then Friday night, if you were like me, you were probably just hoping, you know, your basement wasn't going to flood or your ceiling wasn't going to leak
Yeah, no
or
kidding.
your car wasn't going to float down the street.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
heard there
thing.
was a lot of rain. Unfortunately, my Friday night was not all that great,
I
you know,
heard.
as we talked about, you know, before the show. But that's neither here nor there, you know. Yeah, I spent Friday night unplanned in San Antonio, you know, but you know, that's all right. I made it home safely the next day. I just kind of figured that, you know, with all the hassle I went through for that day, that, you know, it was probably, there was some reason that God didn't want me on the planes that I was, you know, scheduled to be on or whatever. So, you know, but I mean, no plane fell out of the sky, which was great. You know, I appreciate that, you know, just kind of all around, you know, for other people that were flying as well. But it was just not meant for me to be on either of those planes Friday. So while I was pissed off, it just kind of is what it is. And I'm just going to, you know, leave that to God's providence to, you know, that, you know, that's why I was down there. So
There you go.
yeah. So yeah, Friday was kind of rough. Saturday was kind of rough because being stuck in San Antonio, not planning to spend the night, I didn't have any like my sleep medicine or anything like that. So
Oh,
yeah, I tossed and turned all night. I didn't get hardly any sleep at all. Only because, you know, how you kind of get to that area where you're just right at the beginning of sleep and then you pop up on awakening real quick. That was
Mhm.
kind of how I spent the entire evening.
Ugh.
So yeah, you know, and then Saturday was kind of, you know, recouping from that. And, you know, so that was that. And then Sunday, you know, church, of course, and then some home repairs. So I think we're going to have some people over next Sunday. So you never really know how much work your house needs until you start working on things
Oh,
in your
right.
house. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm doing this. I might as well fix that. Oh, I can fix that too. And next thing you know, you just got shit that's like all over the place.
Yeah.
But,
it's all
you know,
connected.
yeah. So, but I'm very excited about our guests. You know, they're going to visit us next week. You know, I'm pretty excited about that. And then, yeah, that was, you know, pretty much it. We've, Rebecca and I have, I think, instituted something new for a tradition. Just kind of like, Sunday afternoons or Sunday evenings, just going to Weather Vane and, getting a shake or some kind of treat or whatever, and just kind of having that be like, I know technically Sunday is like the beginning of the week, but just kind of like a way to kind of end the week out, round out, just kind of start making, memories, and
Oh,
things like that,
nice.
even if it's just me and her or, me, her and her daughter, I mean, I think it'd be kind of fun, kind of cool to do that, and hopefully I'll get to incorporate my granddaughters into that also.
Yeah, oh, that would be
So,
very cool.
yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much my weekend. So Engineer Bill, how about yourself?
We went to the loading dock on Saturday, so that was kind of nice. Parents met us up there, siblings, and they had a vendor fair up there, so that was cool. Some
I love the loading
antiques,
dock.
and yeah, it was neat. We actually didn't know that the vendor fair was happening until just before, like we were driving up there, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool because that's my jam. But they had some neat stuff up there, and of course the food's always good, and sitting by
Always.
the river is great too, and the river road is awesome too. So yeah, that was the fun thing this weekend. Everything else was work.
Nice.
Yeah, except for church. Church is good too. So
Yeah, church. Church is always cool. I love my church.
mhm.
I love
too.
going there. I love the teaching that is there. I love the family that's developing there also. We've got some newcomers to our church, and I can really appreciate that. I'm starting to recognize more of these people that are coming because they're more regular, and that's encouraging because it just kind of tells me that there are people that are out there, that are seeking the truth, and that they're finding what they're looking for, or at least they're interested to the point where they're looking to stick around and have a new church family and things like that. So that's really
Very nice.
encouraging. Yeah. And I know the topic for the show tonight is why do you live where you live?
Yeah.
So, we can kind of just like, move into that, because if you think about it, I first moved back here from Kansas City back in 2017, about 4 or 5 months after my dad passed. Right. And I moved back here mainly for my kids. I lived in Kansas City, and like, I was, switching jobs, and I'm just like about to, set out on my own. And I just, I was kind of like, I left it up to God. I'm like, all right, where am I supposed to be? Am I supposed to stick around here in Kansas City, and fire my business off from here? Or am I supposed to go to St. Louis? And I mean, the obvious answer was, go to St. Louis. That's where your kids are at, So anyway, moved back here, and just kind of started getting things here. And I mean, I've been here 7 years now. It's really hard for me to believe that I've been back 7 years, because I pretty much grew up here. I grew up here 10 years old when I was 8 when I first came to Granite City, went back to, Poplar Bluff area. Then when I moved back, I was 10, and I was here until probably 20 or so, I think. And then, moved away. Anyway, I've been here, gone, back and forth. And, here I am back again. And, it's my kids that brought me back here. And, my son, he has moved on to, somewhere else now,
Right.
but my daughter, she's still here. My grandkids are still here. And, I'm just very happy, to be in this area, and to not been able to have, if I hadn't been here, I wouldn't have met Rebecca, which has definitely been a big blessing in my life, So I'm happy that I'm back here, But yeah, what keeps you here in Granite? I mean,
Same family. And I love our community. I think you have to love where you're at.
yeah, absolutely.
I have you hear people on Facebook complain or carry on. They're always moving. Can't stand the place. And my response is always, you can be rich or poor any place. You're
Right.
not stopped by a zip code.
Right.
I choose to be here. I will probably be here the rest of my life. I don't see myself as one of those that is going to make the snowbird pilgrimage. That's not going to happen. I have lived in Granite City longer than I lived in Madison, but my roots are Madison.
This area, I mean,
And I couldn't imagine not having that kind of childhood. So it's all the nostalgia stuff,
Gotcha.
you know, the things you drive past. For me, I don't have the feel good feelings, you know, that people get from the high school, because
Yeah.
that wasn't my high school. Mine was North, you know, the
Mhm.
the nicer high school in Granite City.
It was a nicer high
It
school.
was very nice.
I'm not sure why. I guess did they keep South because of location?
You know, I could just be guessing at this, but I think the population, right, was because we had 3
Mhm.
junior highs at the time
Mhm.
too.
Yep.
And the
Yeah, Prather
population,
used to be a junior high, didn't
Mhm.
it?
Prather,
Yes.
Coolidge,
Yeah.
and Grigsby. Yep.
Grigsby, yeah.
yeah. My brother was the very first graduating class from North. He had done 2 years South and then 2 years there. And I was the very last graduating class. So some of us, there's 8 kids. Some of us went to South, some of us didn't.
Mhm.
And it's weird. Most people don't even understand when you say South
Mhm.
that you're referring to
Mhm.
Yeah.
the high school. You
Right.
know, my own grandson is like, why do you call it that? Well, because yous were.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
If you go walk around the campus, the college campus over there, I mean, you can tell it was a high school.
Because the
Yeah.
lockers and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
It's like going into the Casey Hall. The Casey Hall, like I don't know who the architect was
It
of
was
that
an
one.
elementary school.
That
at
was
this
an
point, wasn't it?
elementary
Yeah.
school, and it was an interesting design. Now, obviously, like the big hall in the center is, you know, was multiple different classrooms that they've opened up and everything. But yeah, you can tell it was something else. It was an elementary school. But yeah, it's I don't know. Population changes. I mean, if for some reason our population exploded again, they'd probably have to build another one, you know?
Well, it was a neat high school. It really was. And I love the rivalry that took place
Yeah.
between the two. It was never, that I remember in all those years, ever a violent or a nasty, you know, kind of thing. It was a fun thing, you know. And I think back then too, I was not a part of it.
It wasn't a Jet Sharks kind of thing. then,
No,
like you're
not
saying.
at all. But, you know, I do believe that they traveled. There was a thing called traveling, right? Where some of the kids, I don't know if it worked the other way too, but I know some kids from North traveled to South for a few classes, maybe something that we didn't have or vice versa.
Yeah, I think so.
That was really neat.
Vocational related stuff, I think.
Probably was. It was neat having a brand new high school. It was air conditioned. It was, you know, the library was state of the art kind of thing.
I remember when I was at South, air conditioning. Oh man, the summers,
Yeah, no.
the end of the school year and the beginning of the school year sucked. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it was bad.
I don't think we have any school that's not.
No, but
regulated.
I do remember being in the grade schools and the junior highs, and you know, you were lucky if you got a box fan in your classroom.
Well, sure. That's why we appreciated that high school.
Like, listen, I sat there many times thinking, why doesn't one of these teachers just go get an air conditioner and stick it in their classroom? Screw the rules. Like,
Yeah.
bro, for real, this is ridiculous.
I would have. I'd have been
Oh,
a
there's no
rule
way.
breaker
Well,
for sure.
for a long time there, they were having like classes were ending early.
Yep.
Like they would end class at like 2:00, 2:45 or something like that in the afternoon because
Mhm.
it was too damn hot.
They called it the heat schedule.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
And
remember that. Yeah.
my kids, they can take bottled water in the classroom. Some of the teachers don't care. Like if they have a cafe at the high school now,
Yeah.
that the students run, and they're allowed to bring those drinks in the classroom and stuff. I'm like, we were lucky to bring bottles of water
Mhm.
into the class. They were like strict about that. Like, oh,
I don't even know
Right.
there was even such a thing really as bottled water when I was in high school.
No, but I mean, if they would have let us,
Yeah.
we sure could have like
Right.
brought a container in to fill up and bring in and not be parched for 45
My
You
best
may be-
friend at the time went to South,
Mhm.
and me being at North, one of the big things that she was so jealous over is North had the very first buffet salad bar.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
And that was so cool to be able to make your own salad. She's like, that's it. We're moving
We're
to
moving.
North.
That's okay. South had a smoking area.
We
Yes.
did too.
Did you?
Oh yeah,
Oh, man.
definitely. It was big square area had railroad ties
Yep.
that
That's what
locked
ours
you in,
had, yeah.
and
Over
yeah,
by the band room at South.
Yep.
Yep.
So we've talked about a little bit why we've stuck around here, what kind of draws us here. I'd like to hear from you guys. If you could, Bill, if you wouldn't mind just maybe dropping that link up there. And so I'd love to hear from you guys. What keeps you in the area of where you're at? Are you a Granitian? Do you live here in Granite City? Do you live in Madison? Live in St. Louis? Do you live in Chicago or Seattle or someplace like that? I want to say Seattle because I've got some friends that are out there that, I kind of hope are watching. I haven't seen them in 12 years, but, I'm kind of hoping they're watching. But yeah, just kind of curious what keeps you guys here. We see all the time on the 62040, the bitching and the griping that goes on,
Yes.
and, but there are people out there also that are happy to be here, especially in Granite, or every town's going to have your complainers, right?
Right.
And then everyone's going to have your champions. I think that you are a huge champion for this town.
Thank you.
Yourself. Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm kind of I'm on the Granite City side. Like I want to see success here. I don't want to see failure or whatever, because my granddaughters are going to grow up here. That's kind of already been established. Now where Alan's kids are going to grow up when he has them, who knows? I don't know if he's going to be back or not. I will say something though, just kind of an offshoot real quick about him moving out to Warrensburg. I asked him and I told him, I was like, if you want to move back, here, that you've got a place to stay here at my house if you want.
Aw.
Yeah. And his response, couldn't be more proud of the kid. Nope. He's like, I appreciate that. He's like, I made a commitment out here. He's like, I made a decision, so I'm going to stick to it.
Good.
And I was like, that's pretty awesome. You don't hear that from many kids anymore. So that was pretty awesome. Real proud dad moment,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Bill, I believe, has dropped that link up there for you guys to just kind of click in. And you just click in, let us know why you live where you live at. We'd love to hear it. And we want to know some of the positive things. If there's something you want to change, feel free to share that. But this is really, it's not a gripe session. It's more of an opportunity to talk about why you're where you're at. Things like that. Looks like we have a couple comments up there. What do we got, Bill?
Somebody said North is the best.
North is
You're
the
right.
best? Okay.
Yep. And Michelle Joyner said that Diane Weingartner did the reading for each artist.
Okay.
Oh,
There you go.
I knew that voice.
All right. Yeah, I
Very
could
cool.
imagine they had us pre-recorded by someone else. It would be,
Yeah.
someone who's part of the theater group. So, yeah.
That was
Shout
very
out
cool.
to some guys also. Speaking of Alfresco, that's one of the things I like about this town is we have a great community theater there.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when I first came back, one of my first performances was over there. I did Sister Act with them. It's kind of funny because I kind of lived in Blue Springs and Granite at the same time during that performance. So there's rehearsal. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, there was some karaoke. You guys know I run karaoke on Thursday nights over at the Corner Tavern in Everettsville. But there was a group of, they had to be music majors, came in, they sat at the table right in front. And it was just so cool because they started singing like Broadway show stuff. And I was like, this is freaking cool, So, anyway, shout out to those guys, very talented.
Yeah.
They actually inspired me to sing a song from one of my favorite shows. And, so really cool. Really cool. But, yeah, guys, feel free to just kind of click the link that's down there. And
Another thing that I like about living in are we a small city?
I think we're mid-size. I wouldn't say we're
Yeah,
huge.
right.
by any
About
means,
30,000
but,
people. It's just above small.
small town vibe. Yeah.
I like the idea that you can hardly ever go to a grocery store and not run into someone you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then about the grocery stores, let's just take Schnucks, for example. You get to talking about it and people can remember what that building was,
Oh, national.
national. And then they're going
Yeah.
to tell you about, A&P, where it was. And it's just that whole history.
Yeah.
And knowing so many business owners. And it's one thing to know a business and then to know the business owner and you really know what they put into it. And
Yeah.
it's their life savings, it's their dream. And we have that in all of the businesses in Granite, right down to the business equipment center.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I take that
Is it
place.
Terry and Larry? Are that the two guys over
Yep.
there?
Mhm.
Yes. I never give them a thought until I need something.
Mhm.
And then they're my first thought.
They do a lot of stuff. Not only they do office supply delivery, so all of you can actually have stuff delivered, paper and all your office products, but they're also a UPS drop-off location.
Yes, they are.
Mhm.
And they got a lot of the like little niche things that you might need here or there. It's worth
Yeah.
checking them out for sure.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
And they remember you when you
Yep.
come in. And it's not a place that I go to often,
Mhm.
but I have gone often enough that they know I'm going to need help. And I'm not going to know the name of it.
Oh boy, here she comes again.
Hey, I always leave the extra pennies.
I need one of those things that you click and then you move it on the paper and it makes a pen. Yes, that's it.
It makes pretty little marks.
We have a whole
Well,
aisle of
and
those.
speaking of that, at their counter, they sell pens,
They sell nice
obviously,
pens,
They do.
actually. They've
Yeah.
got
with
some nice
pieces
ones
of paper laying around
To
so
test
you
them.
can
Scratch
write
on,
with
yeah.
them. Go find that at
They
Walmart,
also
all right?
have an entire art supply section too. If we got any artists
Yeah.
around listening, they have a big art supply section.
Yeah,
as
they do.
well.
I've bought several art supplies from
Yep.
those guys. In
Shipping
past, yeah.
materials, if you're looking for that, they've got. I went and bought the most giant roll of bubble wrap that I've ever seen. It was literally the entirety of an end cap display in there. He's like, "Well, this is what I got." And I'm like, "Well, I guess that's what I'm buying."
That's what I'm gonna get. You got it. I'm gonna get it.
I'm like, "Well, this is gonna live in my attic, but okay."
You're either going to buy it or not, but I'm heading back to
Like,
the office.
I'm like, I need it, so it is what it is. The thing's bigger than I stand tall, but that's okay.
yeah. So,
So
a good
Rebecca-
shout out for them tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're definitely
awesome.
homegrown guys. So
And another thing that is so cool about being from a community like ours is the park system, the park district.
Our park
Yeah.
district is awesome.
Every neighborhood has a pocket park, and everyone calls it something different. For my neighborhood, I'm very close to Wilson Park. I mean,
Yeah.
it's right there. But a little further back in my neighborhood, there is a park, and I know this is not the correct name for it, and I don't even know the real name that the park is, but we have always called it the Ant Park. Down by Corner Market, maybe around Lincoln, Edwards, that area right
where
there.
the school used to be.
Um,
There was an elementary school there.
and
Webster
there's a
School
big
used to be over
ant
there, I
that
think,
you
yeah.
can crawl on.
Oh, okay.
Isn't
So-
it Webster Park?
I think it's something like that.
I
I'm
think
probably
it's
wrong,
after.
but-
I don't know. We
but
need to find that
was
out.
there was a school there when we first moved. We
I
lived
went
on
to that school. Yeah.
we lived on Sheridan, which is not too far up from that.
No,
and-
it's right there by it.
And the school was still there. They hadn't torn it down yet. So yeah, I
Yeah.
was little.
So I remember sixth grade. I went there. Mr. Mahalik, I think, was my teacher. Man, that guy hated me. I was not a good kid, good student, or whatever. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I remember it was me. First of all, I was the kid with the accent, right? Like when I first moved up here from Poplar Bluff, the accent difference, probably right at the Cape Girardeau line and further south, is so much different than it is up here. And I was a kid that talked like this, I mean, I just had this accent. I got made fun of for it. And then there was a guy, Jimmy Pope. I think he's passed. And then Rob Kirkpatrick, I want to say his name or something like that. Anyway, we were like mortal enemies, and then I remember one day, you remember those little toys you could get at like the corner store, they were like, I don't know, 10 cents or something like that. Anyway, I had one that was like a little plunger dart that you could pull back and fire off, right? So we're all jacking around, they're in the back of the class one day, and I'm not kidding you. This sounds like something you'd only see in a movie, right? I took this plunger dart and I pulled it back, and Jimmy pushed my elbow, and it caused me to let loose of that plunger dart. It went and stuck right in the middle of Mr. Mahalik's forehead. It was insane. I got my ass busted for that. Like, that's back when they would still take you out in the hallway and introduce you to Mr. Wood,
Well, I got swatted
So-
in freaking grade school.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Dude, I was so
terrible.
happy when high school came around and I found out that they didn't give SWATs anymore.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
I had a teacher, Mr. Veradian. I was in was Parkview Elementary at the time before it became Worthen, and that man was super intimidating. His wife taught there too, but man, did he hit hard, and he had no excuses. It didn't matter if
Yeah.
a tornado came through and blew your house down. Where's your homework? I don't have it. Out in the hall.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Out in the hall. Yep. He and a couple other teachers there, and I went to Prather for a very short period of time too. Were just no nonsense and just very intimidating people.
Huh.
But yeah, and that was before I think that was even before you had to have another teacher out there watching. because toward the end of the punishment era, they had to have another teacher verifying that you weren't beating the crap out of the kids, I guess. But
we had a teacher, Mr. Diak, over at Coolidge, that was known for giving the hardest swats in the school. I mean, that's kind of what his thing was. I will say, though, I don't know that I ever actually got a swat from Mr. Diak, though, because he'd take me out in the hallway, and like normally you could hear when someone gets a swat or whatever. I don't think I ever got a swat by him, so I was never privy to his, like hard swats. But funny thing, we're kind of rabbit holing all over the place tonight. But funny thing is, what was I going to say? I have no idea. I hate when that happens.
Fleeting memory.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that. Anyway, Mr. Diak actually knew my aunt though, so that may be why I never got any swats. That's what I was going to say, because he was friends with my aunt and my uncle at the time. And it was funny because he would remind me that he was friends with my aunt and my uncle. So,
Never got swatted.
Of course you did.
Never even came close.
You were probably a suck up, weren't you?
No,
She's a politician. Of course she was.
I stayed right under it.
Okay.
Back when I was in high school, finals were not mandatory as long as you went to school every single day.
Yep.
And then I found out because I worked in the office, I worked in the nurse's office. I always found something to do.
Mm-hmm.
I come across this technical thing that as long as you spent 20 minutes in a class, it counted as
being there.
Right.
Yep.
So I worked that system, and I never took a single final my entire 4 years of high school.
So you were a schemer.
No, I worked the system.
See, I did the exact opposite. I was strategic about it. I knew what kind of grade I needed to have in the class and take the final and pass the class.
No, I went the safe.
I pissed some people off with that because I was like, listen, I don't need to. I'll just take your final and pass. You'll never learn everything you need to. I'm like, you just watch.
I'm a terrible test taker. I know all the stuff, but when it comes down to sitting me in front of a test and, it just kind of being on, I don't know about now, but then I was a terrible test taker. I would sit there. I knew the stuff. Like we could have a conversation about it, but when you put that Scantron in front of me or whatever,
Scantron.
And I know, right? When you put that Scantron in front of me, air, nothing in here at all, and it's like you sit there and
well, the good thing with Scantron is you got a little bit more of a chance. You just pick random crap.
Yeah. If it was a 4-answer question, you had a 25% chance of getting it right and 75% chance of getting it wrong.
Right. As long as they didn't pop out like the long form answer tests or something like that.
You know what I used to hate about tests though? Is the fact that, so I didn't do math the way everybody else did math.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that my style of math, and I don't know Common Core all that much, but maybe a little closer to the Common Core way of doing it. But I would have the right answers, but I'd get the damn answer wrong because I didn't do it the way they wanted me to do it.
Didn't show your work that way.
Yeah, and no, I would show my work. It just wasn't done the way they wanted it to be done. And that's wrong. I'm like, that's the answer.
By the way, hats off to all the teachers that said we wouldn't have calculators in our pocket all the time.
Right. Yeah.
just so you know, that didn't age well.
Yeah, I can give another gesture to that, but we'll go with hats off.
Yeah, I was being a little politically correct there.
Again, another reason why people stay in their area, stay in their home. You could just have these random conversations, about history.
Mm-hmm.
Although none of us shared it together.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
It still is a part of the picture.
Yeah,
of
we're
this
probably
area.
close to 3 different generations because you're in your 30s still, right?
No, I'm 41.
Are you 41?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm still a different generation for the most part, and then you're not too much older than I am, but it comes from just a different mindset.
Right.
I think
I'm 58, but I've been living the golden years for a long, long time. Like, right.
Well, I mean, if you, I would say that.
I love the stories though. Like my grandma, before she passed, would sit around and talk about different things about the town. And like you were talking earlier about like where things used to be. Like I remember Central Hardware.
I loved Central Hardware.
They had everything from soup to nuts.
Yeah. I had a feeling you were going to do that. But like, people say, oh, National used to be there. Yeah. Well, where did Schnucks used to be? And immediately people will go and be like, oh, over kind of, in that area over there now where
Big
like,
Lots is. Or not
they don't
Big
say
Lots,
that.
it's Ruler.
They do, yeah, but they don't say that because they'll go back to where Shop and Save was before it was torn down and all that. It was Kroger originally. There was a Kroger there, and Schnucks was in the Big Lots building.
Yeah.
And then I just saw a picture the other day that I actually didn't know. It's way too far back. I didn't know Ravenelli started out as a pizza place.
Oh yeah,
started out as a pizza place, not too far away from. That's Nick's down there, isn't it? That used to be the old firehouse. Not you can see the old firehouse in the picture and the Ravenelli's pizza sign on the other side of the street.
Same picture I think I saw too. There was a policeman.
Yep.
And we talked about it. Somebody even knew who the policeman was. It was such a neat picture.
Oh, it's totally
the
cool.
Clothes that they had on to the car that was parked.
Well,
there.
and then you look in that picture, and there's houses up and down that, and like I remember they finally tore it down. I guess the landowner was probably holding out. But do you guys remember between the Chinese buffet and Walgreens, there was a lone house sitting there
That's
for the longest time.
I think it was
no,
on
up further.
There used to be all kinds of houses there, and they were beautiful, and they were big, and they were brick.
Yep. Oh yeah. All kinds of houses.
My dentist
and Freddy's too. Yeah, Freddy's was there.
Yeah.
I used to get my
It
hair
wasn't
cut when I
Fast
was
Freddy's,
little.
but Freddy's.
Freddy's, yeah. So
we got a couple. We got a couple comments up here. Rebecca said that she lives where she works and works where she lives. Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of in that boat now. Also, I work from home, which is nice.
How's that going to work when the union happens?
So we actually have a plan,
Okay.
which I'll share off the air.
Okay.
But we have a plan.
Sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, no. We have a plan. It's actually going to work out well. So yeah, I mean, we're planning everything's, in the future. We've got, just all kinds of stuff planned. So
okay,
it's all about the planning, folks. All about the planning. What's Diane say? I can't read hers.
She said she's got a million memories in Granite. She walked everywhere as a kid, which made you watch it grow in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
Then when she went to South, she loved the large campus. She didn't have air conditioning at home, so the heat didn't bother her.
Oh.
We had air conditioning at home. I was a pansy. I also had a room in the basement too, so it was always like 60-something degrees. So yeah,
my bedroom was in the attic.
Oh,
it was not 60-something degrees
Bro,
in the attic.
How are you alive? But she said she was in the first class after the split and missed friends that went to North. And she stays because her grandkids are here.
Nice. It seems that family is a big thing. It keeps people rooted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shelly said she's watching from home.
All right. Hi, Shelly.
Hi,
Appreciate
Shelley.
it.
I just can't imagine being any place else for any length of time. I love to vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere, anytime, I'm down for it. But there is always some point. Maybe it's a long drive home. I don't know. At some point, I'm always like, I'm so glad to be home.
Yeah. I was so glad to be home Saturday. Let me tell you. I was ecstatic to be home Saturday. So I need a vacation. I was actually telling Rebecca that earlier today. I'm like, we need a vacation. Like,
I need one myself. It's got to have a beach. I don't even care where at this point.
Did you just get back from Ohio?
Stop it. Just no. Was it Ohio?
I mean,
was it in Ohio?
I don't know.
There's Pontoon Beach.
Yeah. It's a big beach.
Hey, okay, listen. Since we are just so random tonight, speaking of Pontoon Beach.
Oh no.
Okay. Following the Eagles saga.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. So I've been following this eagle for a few years. About 4 years ago, the female eagle lost her partner. Don't remember exactly how it happened, but it might have been some kind of hunting accident of some sort. I don't remember that part.
No.
Well, if you shoot an eagle, it better be an accident.
Yeah, I think it was an accident.
How you prove that?
The following year, she got a new eagle, and they built a lovely nest, and they had some eaglets, and something happened to him too. I don't remember what it was.
I think I'd be careful of this eagle
like,
chick.
She's like Carol Baskin. Like, what is going on?
I don't know. But the last 2 years, her nests have been destroyed in storms.
Karma.
But this 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 last storm, about a week before it came through, they only had one eaglet, and he fell. Dad was probably home. I don't know, but he fell out of the nest. Okay. And this lady that constantly checks on them and takes videos for us, that keeps us, in touch with them,
Oh yeah.
found the little eagle guy and took him to the World Wild Bird Sanctuary.
Mhm.
And he's got some broken problems with his wing, but he's going to be fine. But he still can't go back because there's no nest, and
Nowhere to go.
we don't know where his parents are at anyway. But anyhow, that brings me to Murphy. And if you don't know who Murphy the eagle is, please Google him. There is so much about this eagle that will make you laugh and go, wow. And there is a new TikTok. It's not new, but it's new to me, that I shared today. Actually, no, I'm not going to take that from you, Sarah. Sarah Rennie shared today this TikTok, I believe, of Murphy. And it is the funniest thing. And every time something bad or stupid happened today, and yeah, a lot of that was today. I had to go watch Murphy, and it was funny. Take the minute, watch it.
All right. Cool.
I'm
I'd
gonna
never
watch
heard of
that
Murphy
after.
the Eagle until
Me neither.
recently.
You're going to Google him, right? And I'm going to show you anyway.
Oh yeah. I need to see.
What, you're not going to show me? You're just going to show him? Dang, man.
What about
she's
all
got-
the foxes around town too? I love them.
I love them.
I've heard some people are all scared when they walk their little bitty dogs. That listen, bro, your dog's
Fox
being
are-
hunted by everything that's bigger than
I
it.
said, isn't fox? I mean, aren't they pretty friendly? Or are they?
I mean,
mean, they're-
they don't really interact with humans a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, if you tried to corner them, they're going to bite you. But it's a wild animal.
Well,
But
sure.
they're beautiful. And
There are.
There
beautiful
is a huge
animals.
population in Granite of them.
Mhm.
There has been a Lincoln Place for several years now. And
They just
they
migrated
have not
further.
been, they have not really been friendly,
Mm.
that particular bunch.
Well, they hunt. I mean,
Yeah, they've been working to try to get that under control.
they're bunny eaters for sure.
Yeah, well, recently we just saw that
Mhm.
picture on Facebook. I think Ethan Crane,
Yeah.
the comedian we had here,
They did, yeah.
he shared a picture of this, just doing what foxes do,
Yeah.
coming out of a sewer with a bunny.
Yeah.
Well,
I
they
mean,
got to
Yeah.
eat, and I don't see many people putting out fox bowls, So
Yeah, it's just a
But
circle
if you
of life.
if you have dog food or cat food out, they will come take that, and so will the raccoons. I actually, a couple of years ago, my sister is for some reason terrified of raccoons. I don't know.
trash pandas.
Trash pandas, yeah, I
What's
love
to
them.
be scared of
I
them?
love trash pandas. Anyway, she had a mom that had built a nest in the knot of a tree that had rotted out, and the mom, I guess, the babies fell out, and so she's like, "There's raccoons in my yard." And I'm like, "Congratulations! What do you want from me?" She's like, "No, there's baby raccoons in my yard." I'm like, "On my way." I went and got them all, and I gave them to a wildlife sanctuary in Missouri. But if it would have been one,
You'd have kept it.
I would have kept it, and that would have been my little raccoon pet. That's a public service announcement. If you find a single raccoon baby, just call me up.
You're the guy, huh?
I will take it 1,000%. I
All
love
right.
raccoons. Love
Okay.
raccoons.
I don't know that I have raccoons in my neighborhood. I'm sure I do because
Mm-hmm.
they're everywhere. But I do have a possum that
Those can be pets too.
literally comes. Aren't they blind?
No,
Is that-
no,
that's
they
a
have
nat-
sensitive sight. They have sight designed for nighttime, nocturnal sight.
Every single night. At some point, he sets my cameras off,
Mhm.
and he literally comes and sniffs the whole door, the whole side of the porch. I don't know if he's hunting or what he's
Yeah,
doing.
they're super
but
beneficial. They eat bugs and they're very clean. They do not carry rabies. Everybody's like, "Oh, they got rabies." And honestly, most of the time, if you interact with them, they won't bite you. You can actually pick them up and they'll just hiss at you and everything.
he's huge.
Oh yeah, they're big.
I have watched him just grow.
Is it possum or opossum?
Two different types.
Two different types?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
What
know.
do we have?
Possums,
Okay.
not the O.
There you go. You heard it
Yeah.
here.
Nice. We are your source of education right here at In the Metro.
Yeah, I don't. The possum's not as exciting. I like raccoons because they're super cool. But I would take a squirrel too. We had a baby squirrel when I was growing up. But yeah, no. I mean, You can apparently litter box train them and all the
Squirrels
other stuff.
or
Raccoons.
Raccoons.
Okay,
I don't know about squirrels. I imagine they probably
they're
come
just
from
tree
the-
rats, man.
Yeah, they probably come. I'm not a biologist or anything, but I think they're closer to that type of species.
I think they're actually a kind
Right.
of rat.
Like rats and stuff
Or-
can't control
yeah.
their bowels. Like if you have a pet rat or a pet mouse, like they can be totally domesticated, but they're still going to poop and pee just whenever.
Randomly. I hate
Bunnies
mice, man.
too.
My,
Yeah.
Bunnies
my
too.
cupboard, like I've got to get the trap set out because my cupboard, like I'll clean it, Rebecca will clean it or whatever. Matter of fact, we were doing some home repairs this weekend, and the pantry door and wall was one of the things that I was working on. And sure enough, man, like it doesn't matter how often you clean it or whatever.
Yep.
It's always got rat crap in the bottom, and it's just like every once in a while I'll find they don't mess with the bread too much because I keep the bread in the fridge now. But like chips or something like that, they'll put a little hole in it. You can't see it. You pick the chip bag up, all of a sudden you get crumbs all over the place
Yep,
because
they've
some
been in
mouse has been in it.
Yep.
So I'm like, I ain't eating that.
They'll get in everything.
Yeah.
Speaking of your house, I don't know that we talked about this last show. When you were doing some remodeling, you had like the perfect Brady's kitchen.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't talk about it last time. I am so glad to have gotten rid of that.
I
Let me
loved
tell you.
it.
What?
I know, right?
It was horrible.
No, it was neat. Do you know what picture we're talking about? He put
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I saw.
Yeah, it was a neat Brady Bunch
You know,
era.
all of that stuff is coming back. It
Not
really
my
is.
house, it isn't.
It's all coming
And
back.
he had the original.
There's a couple guys that I watch, one of them on TikTok and then another one on YouTube, that they will go out and they will hunt down old appliances, refrigerators, ranges, wall ovens, all these old like
Yeah.
50s, 60s appliances, even the ones that like people couldn't wait to get rid of, the avocado green stuff and all that.
Avocado
That
green,
stuff
orange,
runs
and brown.
though. Like that stuff is
That's the
still
thing.
running
Like,
today.
they pick it up. Most of the ones they pick up still work, no problems. And the ones that don't, they can get running real easy, and they resell these things.
Yeah.
And
I
people
get it.
buy the hell out of them.
I can get behind retro equipment, furniture, things like that. But the paint job on these doors for these cabinets was long overdue.
Well, you did a before and after.
We did, yes.
And I glanced before I read.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, Chuck is on it. I
well,
was
hold on.
hoping you had went to the orange.
I have to give credit where credit is due. Like I was dealing with the orange, right? Like it was what it was, in my opinion. And then, Miss Rebecca and I got to talking, and, we've got, like I said, hopefully some special guests coming, next Sunday for just to do a little bit of grilling, whatever. And then, so I just taped off the doors, and then she's the one who did all the painting and
Ah.
that. So she was kind of the fire under my ass for that one, which I appreciate that. Here's a nice thing. And I have to tell you this. It's another thing that I love about this woman is that she motivates me and she inspires me, but she's not a bitch about it, like at all. Matter of fact, she's probably one of the least pushy people that I know that can motivate me like that. And I appreciate that, because I have been in relationships before that it's just been like, you don't want to do anything just because of the way the person is acting about something, whatever. I do not have that, from this woman at all. And, it's just something I greatly appreciate about her. So yeah. And, the whole kitchen thing, whatever, these cabinets, when you walked in the kitchen, would burn your retinas. I mean, they were that bright, So, we went to Ace here in town. No, not Ace, went to Pace. I get the two confused sometimes.
Mhm.
Went to Pace True Value, picked out some paint, and just kind of, did our thing that day. And it's always nice also, Bill. I'm not sure how often you and Amy do like home projects or whatever, but a lot of times when couples do home projects, there's usually an argument or something, or there or something. And
Mhm.
It really just depends on how bad it is. I mean, fortunately, like the house that we lived in was built in the 50s. So it's not too terrible.
Mhm.
So we don't usually fight a lot, but I can distinctly remember my mom and dad, who very much love each other, been married forever.
Mhm.
I do distinctly remember them in the house that we lived on in Sheridan, which was built in 1928.
That's how my house was built.
MFing everything and fighting with each other. And when they would pull something down, discover somebody else's quote unquote handiwork, as it is with those old houses, like nothing, they measured the stud distances with their hammer, whoever had, this, 14-inch hammer, it's good enough, that everything was jacked up. And unfortunately, the people that lived there before us liked liquid nails.
Oh, nice.
So everything was liquid nailed. And so that was an adventure. Yeah.
I would love to have had that. Me and my husband, we've been married for 40 years in March, been together for 44 from get-go.
How would you say you were earlier?
58.
Do the math, folks.
Okay. Anyway, from get-go, he was not handy. He made it very clear.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fix anything. I'm not going to build anything. I'm not going to replace anything. And I made it very clear, I'm not going to clean house. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And it has worked out well all these years.
So he cleans house and you build things?
No. We hire people, and I've had a cleaning lady my entire life, and that's not ever going to change.
Us poor people can't do that.
Well, yeah, you can. You just find the right lady. Sorry, Carol, you're worth every single penny. I swear you are.
But she's obviously willing to pay you more. She says,
Carol, you really do a good job. And I think you're worth every penny I pay you.
So
Carol Goski Cleaning, look her up. She's fantastic.
I was putting a new medicine cabinet into the bathroom a few years back. I actually built the medicine cabinet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because it was one of those old 1970s 3-panel presswood cabinets,
Mm-hmm.
and it just was falling to pieces. So I took it out. I looked to buy another one because I wanted to put in. These things are stupidly expensive.
I
right?
know, it's stupid. It's a freaking medicine cabinet.
Yeah, especially, it's a big cabinet, but still, come on, So I decided to build one. So I take this medicine cabinet out, put it to the side, and obviously it's just the wall that's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking there and just kind of looking at the structure of how it's all built. And I look over to my right, and I left it there, but there is a Thirsty Just Whistle can in there, like the old orange drink.
Oh, nice.
And it looks like it's from the 50s. Like I couldn't get it out. Like I couldn't get it out because it was kind of, you have the drywall, then you have the stud, and there was just enough room for me to see the can, but I couldn't get it out or whatever. But I thought that was kind of cool, So
very cool.
There's a piece of construction history living in my wall. Some guy put it there, or it could have been a girl, I don't know. But it's
Do you think
cool.
they put it there because they wanted you to find it years later? Or do you think it was put there because he was drinking a soda and got down to the end and set it there?
I would like to think that he put it there for years later. Chances are he just forgot it and drywalled over it.
Absolutely.
I
have a new remodel. Well, it's actually 10 years old now. We turned our entire house, put it upstairs on it. And I have a big, huge bathtub that's got the skirting around it. And we had a little bit of a leak and I had to take all that paneling part off to get to it. And there was a McDonald's bag.
Oh, nice.
That still had fries and
probably still look edible.
And
Probably.
Like, I tried to think, and I love the guy that built it. I've known him my whole life, but I tried to think of anything possible that would have made that okay. Like, how could that have happened? And I don't think it could accidentally.
No, some of it. It was probably the guy's hammering and eating whatever, and he didn't have a trash can or something like that. So he's just like, they're never going to find it. Crams it in the wall and keeps on going.
I would be willing to bet that a lot of that is because there's nowhere to throw it away.
Yeah.
Or this is the most it's a Pepsi can or a Pepsi bottle or whatever. I just leave it up here. I found them all over when we've been doing demo stuff. I found them in businesses. Above suspended ceilings and stuff, just sitting there. And my parents had one of those old medicine cabinets from probably back in the 30s or 40s or whatever that had this slot in the back of it for razor blades.
For razors, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there were for sure razor blades in the wall cavity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back to the hometown thing, why you stay where you are. And this is a plug too, in a weird way, for Mike Dixon Heating and Cooling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's all great. He's from Poplar Bluff. Did you know that?
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
he sure is.
I'm not from Poplar Bluff. I just lived there for a little bit.
I think he's from there and
Okay.
then made his way up here with his family. But he wrote a book about his experience and years of working in the Corvette.
I have that.
Mike did?
It's a good book.
No kidding.
It is.
It's a very fast read book, and it's one that you're going to sit down and read the whole darn thing.
Factory of Dreams. Yep.
Factory of Dreams, right? Well, then
Yep.
you know what I'm
I'll
about
have
to
to check
talk
that out.
about. Some Corvettes, the rattle in the door. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
at? He talked about how sometimes maybe empty half pints found their way indoors that they needed to get rid of real quick if a boss was around, and that car just kept right on going on down the assembly
No
line.
kidding.
And then somebody
Interesting.
bought this car and
Yeah.
they can't get that rattle out
What
of the
is this
door.
rattle. Yeah. Yep. That's totally cool.
Yeah, I just thought about
Yep.
that.
I love stuff like that though. I like if it was not illegal, I will say in my younger years, me and some friends, we used to go around and intentionally go into abandoned buildings.
Oh, yeah.
And we were not destructive. We didn't want to go break glass or tear stuff up or anything. We just thought it was cool. You know, if it were not illegal, I would do that to this day because I just think that kind of historical stuff is super cool. Like,
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
I've got a question. Tim, if you're still watching, I want to ask you a question real quick. I don't get it, bro. Are you leaving me a beer? Because if you're going to leave me a beer, how about not opening it first? That would be the great way to leave that beer for me.
Of course, it'd be warm. You're going to drink warm beer? Ew.
Ooh,
Well, I
piss.
could take it home and drink it.
That's true.
Yeah,
We
I'm
could
not
get
a
our-
big beer fan, though.
we need to
I
get
mean,
a little into Metro cooler and put it in here.
There
Have
you
some-
go.
Have some cold treats.
Make it a GCRX cooler.
There we go.
Yeah. So I'm not a big like lager or pilsner drinker though. I'm more of the like dark beers and I like wheat beer, unfiltered wheats, things like that. Those are really good. IPAs, no, thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that's a little rough.
And there's nothing worse than asking a bartender if they have any dark beer. Oh yeah, I got a great one right here, and they slap an IPA in front of you, and you just want to like slap them in the face and ask them what the hell's wrong with them. But yeah, and never mind the fact that IPA stands for India Pale Ale. You know, not exactly screams dark beer. You know, but yeah, I'm curious about the beer here, Tim. So I don't guess we have any other comments or anything like that. I guess we've kept them all entertained. I feel like
Yeah, I got a question for you too.
for us too.
Yeah, for you
Okay.
guys, for our memories of why we stay,
Mm,
and
okay.
and I think we've come down to the fact that it's family and it's our history.
Mm.
Did you do the whole Friday, Saturday drive around McDonald's, Jack in the Box thing on the weekends
Like,
No.
go
when you were in
there?
high
Go ahead.
school? And that loop, like we were in high school, we parked all of our cars would be in a line
Mhm.
up there, like across from Nick's bar. But then we'd just drive constantly that big loop around the McDonald's and the
no.
Jack in the Box, and all the guys would have their muscle cars out, and you would just spend the whole entire Friday and Saturday night driving and looking at each other's cars.
They used to congregate out in front of what is Ruler now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so they congregate there,
Yeah.
but then they started migrating to the car wash over
Hmm.
by where Aldi was. And
Okay,
they said that's where they still kind of migrate
Yeah.
to. And I know that they, before the church opened up, they were using that parking lot there. But yeah, I do remember them congregating over there and in that little area where the Fox Photo used to be.
yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I
Fox
hadn't
Photo,
forgot-
yeah.
Mhm.
I forgot about
I
that.
Yeah, that
remember
got-
when that tornado came through and placed it in the middle of Namioki Road
Yep.
there.
Destroyed that bad boy and
Yep.
screwed up Central Hardware real bad. And yeah, that was interesting.
Now, wasn't Central Hardware where
Right where-
Ruler is now?
No.
'Cause-
No, the
Ace.
other end.
Ace, because you can still see part of what used to be the marquee
Okay.
up there. So from the end of Ace Hardware, where their lawn and garden section is,
Mm-hmm.
all the way over to Dollar Tree.
Yeah, I knew they were there. I knew
Was
Central,
all Central
Hardware was there. For some reason, I was thinking that
No,
at one point,
at the end, that was Schnucks.
right?
And then you had Walgreens right next to it. and then Radio Shack and
Oh, yeah.
Hallmark and
I forgot
all
about
that stuff.
Walgreens being right there.
Walgreens was there before they built the new building across the road.
And Radio Shack, I was a member of the Battery of the Month Club.
I love
And then
Radio Shack.
there was a bicycle shop right before you got to Central Hardware.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, this is why we stay, right? And would you stay? This is a great one. Would you stay if you won a huge lottery?
I would absolutely. Why would I need to move? I don't know. Like, part of me wants to have a getaway place, like, because I'm not a huge city person. I would love to be out in the country, so I'd like a getaway place, but I still like the community,
Kim's gonna hate my answer for this.
I don't know. I might be there with you.
So how much are we talking here? You say
50
huge lottery.
million.
50 million? No way. I would not be here. And here's why. If I won $50 million, I would probably stay in the vicinity. Okay. But I would probably move someplace. I was talking to my neighbor about this earlier, actually. I would probably move someplace that was a little not secluded, but a little more spaced out. And obviously, this is something that would have to, I would talk with Rebecca about, because I would probably purchase property someplace that was a little more serene. I guess is probably not secluded, but a little more serene. I would make sure that both of my kids had homes that were paid off. Pretty much wherever they wanted to live. I would make sure my family was taken care of, and family, I'm talking about, my kids, my grandkids, Rebecca, her daughter, me, things like that. Just my family was taken care of for future planning, also like investments and things like that. I can't say that I would live in Granite City proper.
I would definitely make sure my family was taken care of that was here. I also, now that I'm in city government, I also now fully and completely understand that $50 million isn't really a whole lot of money.
Oh, no.
Not in the grand scheme of things. No.
I couldn't fix the things I would want to fix for the city as a legacy kind of thing. So
it would probably be absorbed and lost somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the truth of it, but I would have to do something, I don't know what it would be. I'd have to do something for GC, but my biggest decision would be, would I move to where there's snow and wild horses, or would I move to where there's always sun and sand?
Yeah. Here's something I would do if I were to stay in the area, because I do kind of sort of have a heart for Granite City.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I won that kind of money after my family was taken care of, and my church, I'd make sure my church was taken care of also. If I had that kind of money, I would I would invest in the buildings that are downtown Granite City, and I would turn them into homeless rehabilitation homes. I think that would help the city, because I think it would generate tax revenue. I think it would give a lot of people the ability to have a home over their head if they wanted it. And I don't know if I've talked about this on the show or not, but kind of my plan for our situation in downtown is we've got a lot of empty buildings down here, and a lot of empty buildings that could be rehabbed by people who wanted to, earn their keep, better their lives and things like that. We could turn these empty buildings down here into, I feel, small condos, or at least livable condos, where people could help build and get back on their feet, and then start, help them with work, help them with jobs and things like that. I think that with $3 million that you could do a lot of good down here in the downtown area that could help our homeless problem, give dignity back to people who are not able to, get back on their feet or whatever, and also start generating business and start generating cash flow and tax revenue in the city. That's one of the things I think I would do if I won that kind of money.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. There are several other shining examples of successful homeless programs in other cities. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Just take what they did and replicate it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm just saying that's kind of, those have been my thoughts. And I've had those thoughts for a long time.
Yeah. Some of the parts that you're just talking about are parts of what they did, giving them jobs and making there be incentives to get off the streets, because that's one of the big things is sometimes you get into a point where you're not in the rat race and you have everything you need and you don't want to be back in the rat race. So you have to incent people to want to do that. And you have to, obviously you can't just, tell your police force to go kick them out because it's not legal. And you can make every ordinance you want to in the world and they're still going to find a way to be homeless in your city. Yeah. So good luck with that. You can just go look at the other cities that have tried that and failed.
Well, people who don't want help, you're not going to help them.
No,
you're just not. People who don't want help.
But I will say that the more that you make the area uninviting to those types of people, the less they will hang around there because they'll find somewhere else that is more inviting to what they want to do. If you've got a crap area, you're going to have that problem with those kind of people. If you make it better, the problem will go away. And I'm not sitting here saying this because, that dude thinks he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't really know the situation. Go look at the other big cities that have implemented this plan and been 1,000% successful with them. And stop trying to pat yourself on the back and come up with something new that isn't going to work. And then you're going to leave office and it's going to fall apart anyway, because the next person's going to want to pat themselves on the back.
Right.
Just find a successful city. There's plenty of them that have done it. Implement it.
Yeah, but I think what you just said, though, really kind of reinforces the fact that it has to be a privatized thing. It can't be a government thing, because you're right. If it's a government thing, the next guy in office, he's got his own plans and things like that. So it really needs to be an angel beneficiary, or not beneficiary, an angel philanthropist.
Investor or philanthropist,
someone that's going to come in to have the money that they can, do this with, and it's their plan.
Or an organization that's willing to do the work. And it takes collaboration with the organizations that are around that want to do bits and pieces. Like, it's great that we have clothing and food pantries around. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But your independent efforts are only exacerbating the problem. Like, I love that you're giving people meals.
Yeah, no, it's a bold statement, but it's a true statement.
I love that you're doing that. Some people will say, like, the bleeding hearts. And it's really true, because your heart bleeds for their situation, but by you feeding that person for one night, you're not improving their life at all. You're just sustaining them to continue living the way that they were before.
Right.
So if all these organizations that had money invested in food pantries and clothing things and this drive and that drive and personal supplies and all this other stuff, great, that's awesome, but they're still homeless. If you took that effort and that money and came together in a nonprofit organization, worked together, and put that effort into making them not homeless, you're doing so much better. Like, and these are Christian organizations, most of them are, that are doing this. And again, I have nothing against this. I respect the fact that you're doing this, but you're just enabling.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the biblical teaching of, give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man a fish, he eats for his life, for a lifetime.
Well, and I think it's funny that nobody gets that. Like, food and clothing pantry is great, but
you want to know why? I can tell you why.
Because they don't want to.
Well, it's human nature. No, it's human nature.
Oh, I know.
And my cynical viewpoint on that is it's the hit and run theory. It's much easier for me to feel better about myself and for me to, pretend I'm doing some good. If I walk up to you and I hand you a cheeseburger and you get to eat, I've done my part. There's no work in that. There's literally no work in that, and some of these organizations are putting a lot of work into it. I'm not saying they're not, but even in the overflow thing, the volunteers that a lot of these organizations get, they do. It's like the Thanksgiving and the Christmas. Oh, we're going to go serve soup. That's great. Why don't you do it every week? Because that's work. That's something that you have to do and you have to commit to. But if I just give you a cheeseburger and walk away, hey, I did my good deed for the day, and that's, why a lot of those organizations have those situations that, they're doing good right now. But the long-term thing is you still have homeless people. You still have people in need because we're not doing anything to better their long-term situation.
In these successful cities that I was talking about earlier that got rid of the homeless population, they did get folks together to work towards a single cause, which is to get these folks off the street.
Yeah.
And they provide, because there's a lot of these guys out here that have access to benefits they don't even know they have access to. VA benefits and of course the public housing, and then of course they were put to work for, and I'm flying air quotes, for the city. It's not for the city because of legality reasons, but it's for the city. And then the city government stands behind that too. Like, we're going to let these guys work and go around and clean up trash or do this or do that. And you got to step out of the, only the street department can do that because they're Teamsters and they're union and you're taking work away from them. Like, okay, I understand that. And I understand the need for a union. Trust me, I grew up in a union household, but there's not another way to get these people off the streets.
What about the population that are, I won't call homeless, I will call the unwelcomed? Unwelcomed as in you could give them all the things that they need and they're not interested because they're doing this over here. I call them the unwelcome because this is the population I'm talking about that is unwelcomed at grandma's house because you've stole every one of her TVs.
Absolutely. Yeah, those people exist.
You're unwelcomed at your aunt's house or your mom's house and they don't care. And even if you gave them a house such and such, here's the key, they're still going to do their own thing, wreak havoc on your community. What do you do about them people?
So I would say that I'll defer back to what I said before. If you build your community in a way that's uninviting for those individuals and where there's no place for those individuals to go stay in a crack house or buy illicit drugs or linger over here or do that, then they won't, because it's uncomfortable for them. Believe it or not, they stick around because it's not hard to do those things in the city.
Right.
And nothing against any of our police force or anything. Like, your hands are tied and you can only be so many places at so many times. I get that. You're busy, but you don't see that problem in Ladue or Clayton, do you?
But I don't think that it helps with the discharges at Kettler.
No, it does not. Absolutely.
I also have seen and witnessed this on many occasions on a monthly basis when community care has their Saturday haircut mill. You see the buses come in, you see the cars come in, they're not from our community. For at least the next 3 or 4 days, we're picking up what's been left behind kind of thing. It's a broken system.
It is. And I think that you would see, if you had an effort, and obviously this is not on the city, this needs to be a nonprofit organization that does this. And there's multiple different cogs that have to be in motion in this. But if you had an effort to have a works type program where you give people a purpose and give them the ability to feel like, hey, I can get out of where I am. I do have a place to start from to get back into a normal life. Most of those organizations that provide that kind of thing will have nothing to provide. Your purpose is here because there's a bunch of homeless folks.
That's fact.
Your purpose to run a clothing pantry is because it's needed. These people need clothes. They need personal item bags. They need a meal every other whatever week, whenever you feel like doing it. That's a need because there's a need. If there's not a need, then it doesn't need to be done. Like, we ran last week's food pantry and nobody showed up. Guess there's not a need for a food pantry anymore. That's here because there's a need. And if we identify the overall need, take care of that overall need, improve the area and make it uncomfortable for the people that don't want help to be here, then it becomes solved.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely, something to...
Look at us solving all the world's problems.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely... I'd love to have another show where we explore that a little more and maybe actually have some people in that are working for not-for-profit. So if you guys know someone who works for a not-for-profit or an organization that, is looking to rebuild the lives of the unwelcome, misplaced, homeless, however you want to refer to it, let us know. We'd be happy to have them here come on the show. I will say Shelly Penrod says that Shelly Penrod would stay in GC if she had that kind of money. So Shelly's another one of the big city champions.
I would do everything I could for the city, though.
No.
But I would travel.
Oh, yeah.
That would be my job. That would be where I lived. I would just travel.
All right.
Out of the states.
out of the,
often.
so you'd support the city, but you wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why, but I really want to go to Iceland.
Oh, I'd love to go to Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
Not Greenland though; it's too cold over in Greenland. But
I would love to go. There's just so many places that there's just not enough lifetime
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
to go to all of them. If I had that kind of money, I would blow through it because I'd be gone all the time. Yeah.
there'd be no money left to help the homeless. Then if you were just kind of blowing
That
through
was
your
never
money.
going to happen anyway.
Yeah. So I want to bring up something real quick before we, well, two things actually before we head out for the night. First of all, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I appreciate every time you guys come in, every time you comment. Here, not next week, but the week after is our Nick Drago week.
Woo.
Very
Love
excited about
Nick.
that. Yeah. But next weekend, May 12th, you know what day it is? May 12th? You should know this.
Well, next weekend's May 4th.
Well, that's this weekend.
Okay.
Next weekend.
No.
Yeah. You don't know what May 12th
Oh.
is? It's Mother's Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother's Day. So this is your warning, men.
Yeah.
This is your warning. You have plenty of time to get mom a gift, get the kids in gear and get mom a gift or something like that.
Set the reminder on your phone right now.
That's right. That's right. Those who watch the
Okay.
show have no excuse. The other thing is, I'm going to tie into that real quick on the Mother's thing next weekend or this weekend,
This weekend.
Sunday the 5th, over at Celebration Community Church. They're actually having a Mother's Day kind of luncheon. So if you're interested in
Nice.
doing that, reach out. You need to bring your special English tea hat, though, I hear something like that. Yeah, so I know that there's invitation for church members. If you want to go, though, reach out to a church member over there or to Pastor Jesse. He's been on the show a couple times. They'll get you more information on that. And then this Saturday
It's
at
trivia
Al Fresco. Yep.
at the Eagles.
Oh, it's at Eagles,
It's
not
at
Al Fresco.
No, it's
okay.
at the Eagles on Madison Avenue. It's a fundraiser for the Al Fresco.
Okay.
If you're looking for something to do, come hang with us. We're still looking for round sponsors and tables. So
How much are tickets?
I know that a table sponsor is $100.
Okay.
Is that like eight people or
Yes.
something? Okay.
So I maybe 20. I'm not sure how they sell
Okay.
them by the ticket.
Well, 8 people at $100. That's less than $20 a person. So
Yeah. So the table sponsor though is what is a donation from a business to have to sponsor that table.
gotcha.
So we have a few tables left that if you'd like get your name out there. Manhattan's. I'm going by to see Brian here tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
He is
Nice.
sponsoring a table.
He's a good guy. I really
Zach
like Brian.
Dittamore is from the Dittamore Group.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Realty,
that-
right?
Just can't stop selling houses. And Midwest Credit Union. Those are the three that I've personally have talked to.
Okay.
And I don't know how many more there are, but get out there.
Talk to me
It's-
after the show. I'll
It's
sponsor one.
important. Absolutely.
Yep.
Good deal.
Nice.
All right.
Very cool. What else going on? Anything big?
That's all I can commit to. Still getting over my fall. Yeah.
Things that are sore you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
No kidding, man. That's
Break a toe. You're
Oh, yeah.
it's the big toe, right? You need it.
Ah, yep.
actually you need all your toes. If you use a pinky toe, apparently that can really screw your walk up, you know.
And everybody stubs that
Oh.
thing.
Oh, yeah. That thing gets caught on everything.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And this was a sneaky situation because it happened. I felt sore. Then I woke up and felt terrible. And then today's, new adventure was I'm probably going to lose that toenail. So yeah, it's been something. Age sucks.
It does. I hate losing toenails.
I've never had this happen.
Man, I dropped something on my foot and like my big toe.
That's
At
what
first, I
this
didn't
is.
think. Yeah, at first I didn't think it was gonna be a big deal, but
Yeah.
nope, that sucker sure did come off. And I was like,
I'm right there.
and it looks weird too. Like when your toenail's starting to grow back, it looks really weird. She's got this nice smooth toe at the top, and like the nail's starting to kind of creep up. It's very bizarre.
I've still got hope that it's going to just lay back down.
Not
No.
going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
You just let it go.
It's
Just
gonna get
let it go.
nasty. It's gonna get blue, purple, and possibly a little
Yep.
green. And yep.
And then you're going to get it caught on something and it's going to come right off.
Oh, it sucks when you catch it on a sock,
Yeah.
man.
It's
Mhm.
going to happen, huh?
It's
Yeah.
gonna
No
happen.
chance of it just gluing back
Nope.
together.
No, not unless you super glue it back down.
I
Of
thought about it.
course you have.
Okay, folks.
They don't
we
call it
appreciate-
nail glue for anything, right?
Oh God.
Hey guys, appreciate you joining us tonight. We're going to be back next week, 7:15. Who knows what we're going to talk about yet? If you have an idea, kick it over our way. If you'd like to sponsor the show, contact us also, and we'd be happy to do that. Also, we are looking to bring on new shows all the time. You know, right now we've got us on Monday nights, and then the Mostly Hockey guys on Thursday nights. So check them out. They're pretty funny. They're pretty good. I'm still waiting to kind of hear the story on this. But yeah. Check us out again, guys. Appreciate you joining, and we'll see you next week.